What's up, Facebook Universe? I'm Anthony Manzola. It's time for me to bring to you a brand new edition of A Game. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so hopefully I won't have too many brain farts along the way. As you know, this week we have the Stanley Cup Finals and the NBA Finals going on right now, but in a week's time we also have the World Cup, so there's a lot to get to, so let's get right down to it. Starting with the NHL's Stanley Cup Finals. Devastating loss for the Rangers because especially after the first period that they had where their speed was really killing the Kings up and down the ice and they were doing a good job of avoiding the checks that the Kings were putting on them, and it also does not help that they had the two-goal lead, and what really changed the game around was when the Kings got one back toward the end of the first period, and then the Kings just started to play their game, which was really to be physical, and they have a lot of skill as well with the Doughty goal. And one thing that the Rangers could not afford to do was to make any kind of mistakes, which led to the Girardi giveaway during the overtime, which Williams put away for the winner, and that just pretty much sealed the deal. And before you know it, the Rangers looked like they had a chance of stealing Game One. Now go into the game tomorrow night being down 1-0. But if you're a Ranger fan, I wouldn't be too discouraged because of the fact that they put on a great performance, despite the fact that they hadn't played in almost a week. Meanwhile, the Kings were coming off a very physical, demanding 7-game series against the Blackhawks, which really took a lot out of them, which kind of in helped got off made them get off to a slow start there in that first period, but they found their legs and they found their game, and the rest is history. So the Rangers are going into game two, one down 1-0, and hopefully that if they could just stick to their game plan and utilize their speed and their quickness, they can really go make it into a track meet, and that will really give the Kings a hard time. And if I told a good friend of mine that if the Rangers were going to take one of these games, it was more likely it was going to be game two than game one, because the trend that's going on in sports right now is that I would rather be the team that would have momentum instead of rest, because with momentum it just keeps going into the next series and the next game and all that. And truth be told, that it looked like that rest pace was going to pay off, but not so much. But in the end, it is what it is, and the Kings are up 1-0 going into tomorrow night. And I still think that the Rangers do have the capability of pulling the series out and winning the Stanley Cup in 6 games, but they really need to steal game two if they want to make this happen. And now moving on to the NBA Finals, the last game last night, I mean, just bizarre as you can get. I mean, both teams had good spurts of basketball last night, but it, now is all you hear is did the Heat literally the fact that the air conditioning system that there was an electrical problem which caused the entire arena to heat up like a sauna. Was that the reason why the Heat lost the game last night? Personally, I don't think so. I mean, it was a good game going back and forth, and with LeBron getting his cramps and everything. Now that's going to make headlines constantly until the next game on Sunday. Is once again we're questioning LeBron's toughness, because he has had cramps bother him in previous playoff games before, but now they're getting on him because of the fact it looked like he bailed out on his teammates, and there's no other way you can look around it. But personally, I don't think it's the reason why that the Heat ended up losing the game last night. It's just that San Antonio in the fourth quarter, they just could not miss. They played great team basketball, and they're getting contributions from a lot of people besides the big three. And that was really the big reason why San Antonio didn't win the championship last season, because of their depth and the other options around Parker, Duncan, and Ginobili. I mean, Green stepped up last night. Splitter's game has gotten much better than it did a year ago. Leonard, a lot of people think is going to be a huge key factor in this series for his development in his offensive game and the fact that he has a good size and quickness that it could give LeBron some problems here and there, but of course LeBron is going to get his. But my key into the finals and how it's going to play out is going to be dependent on Wade. I mean, Wade looked fantastic last night, and if the Spurs can't do anything to slow Wade down, and if LeBron can keep his health in check throughout the rest of the series, even though the Spurs played a great game last night, the Spurs are seriously going to have a problem trying to stop LeBron and Wade, which also means that Bosh would have to be that guy. Like if the Spurs are able to keep LeBron and Wade in check, that Bosh has to be the guy that can take his game to the next level if the Heat are going to three-peat. So this is going to be another great series between these two, and if, in my opinion, if one team wins on the other's court twice, the team that does that is going to win this series. And in my opinion, I really think that the way San Antonio is playing right now, they can actually take 2 games in Miami more than Miami can take 2 games in San Antonio. So the way I see this series going down is I honestly believe that the Spurs are going to take it the distance and they're going to win it in 7 games and get their redemption for what happened last year. But what I would really love to see is if it comes down to it in game 6, if like what happened last year in game 6 in Miami, that if we have a repeat scenario of like if the Heat are trailing by a bucket and it's getting close to the end of the game and people are fleeing the arena like they did last year, basically throwing in the towel, saying that basically telling the Heat fans and the team that their season's over and they're like leaving the arena, and you see people like walking outside the arena, going to their cars and heading home. And then soon as Allen hit that game-tying three-pointer, you see all the Heat fans running back towards the arena, trying to get back inside like they're trying to escape the zombie apocalypse, like if it was The Walking Dead. That, to me, was the best part of the whole NBA Finals last year. Because to see the front-running Heat fans who are so die-hard for their team basically walk away when they think their team is about to lose the championship on their home court. So I would like to really see something like that again. It would just prove the point even more that Heat fans are really the most front-running fans there are in sports. And now with the World Cup coming up and everything, I'm for one am really looking forward to it. I mean, we waited for 4 years, and it's gonna be fantastic. And during the next few days, I'm going to start giving you like my breakdowns of every group from A to H and how I see it breaking down as to which 2 teams I'm going to, in my opinion, are going to advance from each group from A through H. I mean, there are a lot of tough groups in this World Cup. I mean, there are very few cakewalks. Some teams are favorites, and there are some teams that are really good teams that are really bad draws or leading up to the World Cup that have some bad breaks with some injured players that are not able to partake in the World Cup. So it's really going to be interesting to see how all this plays out. So in the next few days, I'm going to start giving you my predictions, and the next time I'm going to do one of these podcasts, I'm going to start with groups A and B. I'm going to do them 2 at a time, from A and B until I work my way all the way down to groups G and H, especially Group G, Group of Death with USA, Germany, Portugal, and Ghana. That's going to be a group that a lot of the soccer fans, oh God, I hate saying that word, world football fans are going to be really paying the most attention to. Leading up to my predictions of who I see are going to be the final 2 teams of the World Cup and who is eventually going to take it. So I really look forward to telling you my predictions on how the World Cup is going to play out. So this is going to wrap up this brand new edition of A Game, and I'm telling you right now, you're going to be seeing a lot more of me in the near future. And as always, if you want your comments, questions, or opinions to be heard, you know what you got to do. Always bring your A game.